r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Teachers of Reddit, what's your most NSFW story from your workplace? A prof of mine recently told me a story about a student of his who gave him a flash drive to hand in an abandonment. When my prof plugged the flash drive in and opened the folder the student told him to open, he came across pages and pages of hardcore OP. As politely as possible, was like, "Are you sure it's in this folder?" To which the student, who was not looking at the screen, was like, "Yeah, it's in there. Keep looking." After scrolling some more, my prof called the student over to the computer and was like, "I'm pretty sure it's not in here." Of course, the student was beyond embarrassed. Will definitely never ever forget that one. P.S. Imagine if the abandonment was in the O folder, though. Like, the student came over to the screen and saw all the O and was like, "Oh yeah, just scroll down a little more. O in the HW folder and HW in the O folder. The all razzle dazzle. You're in the blowjob section." Abandonment was on Germany, so obviously you need to at least scroll until you get to the gangbangs. I walked in on the gym teacher and the art teacher having sex, right in the staff room. The art teacher had the gym teacher bent over the couch and was going to town. Not the way I wanted to start my day, but they seem to have started it out well. Edit. LOL, I didn't realize how many of you would want to know the sex of the teachers. Both are men. Edit 2. Holy shit, some of you have amazing imaginations. I love how everyone, myself included, assumed that art teacher is female and gym teacher is male, though this could still be true. My guess is 2 dudes. No, I suspect pegging. Had a kid in 2nd grade caught fingering a 2nd grade girl in the phys ed locker room after school. Apparently they were both from abusive families and they were victims of sexual abuse by their dads. Not the same dad, obviously. That's the yucked up part. Both their dads were sexual abusing those kids and they coped by trying sexual stuff on each other at the age of 8. That's sucked up. Did the dads get arrested? No idea. Don't want to know either. Sometimes it's better to not know. All I know is that the kids were put in foster care soon after and they changed school. This one makes me really sad. I hope those kids are doing better now. Some kids found the typing programming teacher on Grindr, catfished him. He sent multiple d-pics that he took on campus to the kids. Police had to get involved. It's sad how was he being catfished but still gonna be accused of offending because of those dipshit kids. Nah, it wasn't the fact that he got catfished that was the problem. Adults get let off all the time when kids on the internet say that they're 18. Because you really can't know. The big problem was the fact that the pictures were taken on campus. Edit. Please, stop upvoting. I don't want this to be the thing I see when I look at top on my profile. See Anthony Weiner. Had a student run up to me and say that someone had been stabbed in the girls' room. Turns out that a 5th grader had started their period. She later got the talk when she got home. Similar shit happened to me, but in 4th grade. Had no idea what a period was, and just walked around all day thinking the blood seeping through my white jean shorts meant I was going to die. Everyone saw it. Nobody said anything, not even the teachers, and it was St. Patrick's Day. Edit. Row. My most upvoted comment is about my period. Reddit's a weird ducking place. Edit. Thank you, stranger, for my 2nd ever silver, and, oddly, my 2nd silver today. That sucks. Hope you are not mentally scarred from that today. LOL, thank you. And yeah, I'm okay, haha, and it was way more embarrassing when my mom insisted on taking me to the Gap to buy underwear and tell all the sales clerks that I have entered womanhood. Edit. Okay to get my mom back for that. Anyone looking at this thread should know that I watched my mom rub a glue stick on her lips thinking it was lip balm back in October. Scores even now, LOL. I walked out of class during a prep period to go upstairs to talk with another teacher. In the stairwell there was a female student blowing a male student. The worst thing was she didn't stop even after I yelled. Many things have happened at my school, but this is the only one I have personally witnessed. It's like they say, if someone walks in on you giving her and you stop, you are the weird one who was caught sucking D. If someone walks in on you and you don't stop giving a BJ, they are the weird one for watching. It is known. She may not be the best at giving S, but she knows enough not to stop for anything, so that alone puts her near the top. My mother taught elementary school for 35 years. Second grader told his teacher he was going to shoot her. Teacher blows it off. Next morning my mom waits for the kid to get off the bus. Follows him to class and grabs his backpack when he put it up. Yep. Loaded revolver. No news. Nothing. Cops came. But the principal kept it relatively quiet. This was Houston. Mid to late 80s. Wife has been teaching about 15 years. 8th grader in foster care sat in the front left desk. Draped his jacket on his right side. Proceeded to whip his junk out and go to Cranktown during class. Wife noticed. Called for help without the rest of the class even knowing. Kid didn't get the satisfaction of her looking scared, etc. Hopefully the kid got help. Brother taught at a last chance high school while he was coaching football at another high school. 17-year-old girl walks up after class and calmly says, "Coach, I wanna suck your cock." Brother was mid-20s at the time. Said half a second flashed by then. No, come with me. Walked her down to the office, sure he's about to get arrested because she will twist the story around. Thankfully she didn't. Brother quit soon after. Not worth the risk for a young guy. So how does it feel that everyone in your family but you is teaching? Well, my brother's stint in education was pretty short-lived. He coached college football, but after moving across the country a few times in 10 years he came home, coached at a private high school, and took this teaching job. After this issue and others he took a job with UBS Payne Weber, right before the 11th of September. LOL. He has great timing. My grandfather taught high school for his entire career as well. It's a wonderful thing to do. I think if I won the lottery it would be a blast to teach high school govt, economics, etc. But it just doesn't pay. My wife has just about had it as well. You can't fail kids who don't do the work. You can punish kids for anything. Loud parents get everything they want, while the silent majority are getting screwed. My kids are in private school, and my wife will probably take a much lower paying job at a private school next year. I will take this a different direction. My first week of teaching had its ups and downs. I was teaching a pay class and had a new kindergarten class for the first time. A few minutes into class, a little 5-year-old boy raises his hand. "Mr. Cowtipper, I have a problem. My pee-pee is really hard right now and I don't know what to do." Holding in every ounce of laughter I had, I told him I was sorry and that we would talk about his problem in a few minutes. Not long after he raises his hand again. "Yes, Caleb, don't worry, it's not a problem anymore," he tells me with the biggest smile on his face. Gotta love teaching elementary. My first week of teaching had its ups and downs. I was teaching pay. Sounds like a good start for a stand-up routine. Go for it, Cowtipper. I appreciate that ups and downs is foreshadowing and a pun, which you only understand after you've gotten through the whole thing. Really adds depth to the work. Oh god, that surge of hormones they get around that age can be super awkward. Props to any authority figure who can manage that without giving them a weird complex about masturbation. When I was an au pair, I helped look after a 5-year-old who recently discovered how great it felt to rub himself against things. The grandmother could be home on the couch cuddled up with the little brother reading a story. Mum was helping me wash the dishes. Dad was outside tidying up the garden. And little Snookums was heaving, grunting, sweating, and grinding his way all over the living room floor. And no one said a word. Singularly the most awkward and hilarious moment of my travel experiences. Not me, but the woman who taught across the hall from me. She was teaching a 9th grade math class and her classroom had those old-fashioned pencil sharpeners that attach to the wall and you turn the lever to sharpen your pencil. One of her students was sharpening her pencil every day during class and seemed to take a long time to do so because each time she would stand at the back of class sharpening her pencil for 2 minutes or so. After a week or so of this, the teacher went to ask if the student needed help sharpening her pencil. Turns out the girl was putting her vag up against the pencil sharpener and was using the vibrations to get off in the middle of math class. But how? My rooms that had those had them at like chest height. To be low enough for that would be super awkward for sharpening. You now know, apparently, why most schools mount the pencil sharpener at chest height. Mom, I need more pencils for math again. Well, I taught first grade, so nothing as wild as these other stories, but a student did come to school wearing her mom's bachelorette tiara once. That was entertaining. Edit. Found a pic. First grader trying to be a princess but momaho. We're here to learn, not to burn. Truly great. It's just discreet enough that a child would think it's a normal pretty headband. But I can see that story of when she went to school wearing a tiara being told to embarrass her for the rest of her life. LOL. I student taught in a rough high school. A girl got suspended because she snuck into the auditorium and literally had a line of kids getting S from her and paying her, then heading back to class. Edit. Remembered another one from the same school. There was a girl who was in a wheelchair and I asked my teacher I worked with what happened. She told me that the girl had a boyfriend the year before and then cheated on him. And the boyfriend shot her in the leg and now she can't walk ever again. Edit again. I may be wrong about her being shot in the leg. It may have been her back, which would make way more sense. LOL. It was 5 years ago, sorry. When I was in high school, 2 freshman girls blew the whole football team in the morning after team practice, before showers, and they honestly thought it would make them popular and that no one but the football team would find out. In a high school, everyone knew by the middle of first period. Their exit from the school was like a teen movie. Can you imagine getting a call from the principal's office that your 14-year-old daughter is in trouble for sucking 20 DS in one day? I just picture a mom shopping for a fuzzy pink journal for her baby girl to remember all her high school memories right as she receives that phone call. There's no going back to your days of innocence after that. Try not to suck any DS on the way through the parking lot. Teacher here. Only the other day I had a student come and get me in the playground by holding my hand. They took me briskly to the bathroom and bent over and held onto their ankles. They said nothing but grunted a little. I knew what they wanted. They wanted me to wipe their bum because there was poo smeared everywhere. Uck my life. Well, I was an elementary custodian for 6 years. I have poop stories for days. The little smudges of poop all over a stall is like a crime scene. I can see where they tried to get paper and clean up, then failing that they tried to wipe enough off on the floor and walls, then all over the door. Finally they used the sink. A couple times I walked to a stall and found full-on finger paintings, a house and stick figure family, in poop. But what seemed worse to me was finding an unflushed log with no paper. Some kid was just sloshing around the rest of the day, and I swear, 3rd and 4th grade girls would clog the damn thing with a lot bigger than my forearm. I would clean the bathroom like 5 hours after school got out too, so it would be sitting there the whole time. I would have to go into a classroom and grab a ruler, cut and stab the thing, and then toss out the turd cutter. Sorry if this is TMI. I switched to a career not too long ago, and just needed to get that out. It's like therapy. Reddit gold. For poop ruler. Thanks stranger. I didn't even know about poop knife until you fine folks. Turd cutter. Sounds like someone needs a poop knife. So that's where all the rulers went. This girl took pictures of her dog eating peanut butter off of her V and then sent it to her boyfriend. He proceeded to share it with the whole school and then the teachers found out. Was it Whitney, Wisconsin? Is that a person or a place? The girl who did a very comprehensive 10-point video on why girls should be having sex with their dogs. I've told this story several times, but here goes. I was an occasional substitute teacher in the town where I went to college. The band director often requested me to come teach if she was out sick, since I was a music major and could work with the kids on their parts. Get in for a day, and my instructions were to break the kids up by section and have them practice their parts. I spent the next hour listening to a miasm of sounds from woodwinds, brass, strings, etc. but no drumming. If you don't know any drummers, they're always playing or banging on their laps, tables, steering wheels, etc. Curious me goes to investigate the drum room, and I walked in on the token female drummer flashing her breasts to the boys in exchange for money. Another couple minutes, there probably would have been some banging. Probably a rim shot too. Edit. Obligatory Reddit cliche. Thanks for my first silver and highest rated comment. That's a word pun on behind holes. I was a teacher 2010 to 2015. I was teaching high school at an all-girls school and there was this student teacher from a local university. He was 19 or 20. He was always being a jerk to this one senior at the school. I thought it a bit odd he was always focusing on her, Fast forward a few months and it was post-graduation. I was out at a local bar and look over and see them together there. A co-worker said they had been screwing for the past few months. I asked him how he knew. There was a smaller teacher's lounge in one of the wings of the school. As there weren't normal classes in that wing, it was not frequented and the setup wasn't as nice. He said he popped in there one day and she was down on her knees blowing him. He closed the door and walked away. Not long after, the student teacher found him in his class and asked him what he saw. My co-worker was a bit stunned and said he wasn't sure. The student teacher said that he should keep what he saw to himself or the truth could get twisted against him. He implied the senior would state she was going down on my co-worker and not the student teacher. There were no cameras or anything in that area, so my co-worker decided to keep his mouth shut. Wow, that's so fucking mean. Threatening others with exposure for what you've done. These kids have a bright political future. Subbed at a school years ago. A teacher broke up with a student he'd been statutory raping. She got upset with him and told people they'd been having sex with each other. Then another girl revealed that she'd been having sex with him too. Then a girl who'd graduated the year before said they'd been together as well. And then another, from even earlier. It turned out this teacher, who was coach for one of the girls' sports teams, had been using that team as his own personal harem for over a decade. Finding, grooming and seducing at least a dozen high school girls. The school district paid an unspecified amount of money to a lot of people to have him quietly resign and leave town. Edit. It's depressing how many people read this and ask if I taught at their high school, because something just like this happened there. This incident was almost 30 years ago in the US Northeast. Quietly resign and leave town. That's infuriating. When everyone else has to get a criminal defense attorney even if they're accused and face felony charges. Edit. RIP my inbox. I actually was a teacher. Middle school. 6th to 8th grade. Caught 2 students having sex. 7th grade. Parents were called in. Parents of the boy yell at him. Ground him. Do the parental thing. Girl's parents go on about how their precious little snowflake wouldn't do such a thing. She was a good Christian girl. Baby born 9 months later. 8th grader whips it out in class and goes to town. Bonus. Principal's son. Nothing happened to him. He kept doing it in various classes and moves on to high school. Tries to do it in high school. Expelled from the school because daddy couldn't pull strings for him. The teacher for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes got caught having an affair with a fellow teacher by student. They were going at it in his classroom. Both of them were the holier than thou types. Hilariously, they still tried to pull the old Jesus forgives us of our sins and you're going to hell if you mention it again. They were fired. Kid got caught jacking off into the chili by the head lunch lady. School had to spend literally thousands of dollars to call in a massive pizza order because there was not enough time to make another lunch. Then there is the usual. Smoking weed in the bathroom. In the band room. Kids cursing out teachers, parents. Kids beating the holy hell out of each other, etc. I don't teach anymore. It sounds like you taught in a rough neighborhood. When I was in middle school, if 2 people kissed it was pandemonium. Some minor fights happened, but you know, whatever. It was actually a mixed economic neighborhood. We had some really wealthy families and some really poor families as well. So, we got the really entitled students and the students who just didn't care because their families were too busy surviving. I don't mean to make it sound like it was all bad. I had some great students that gave me hope for the future. One example that stands out. I had an 8th grader who worked really hard and got excellent grades. She was also working part-time, not to buy fancy clothes or anything, but to help her mom put food on the table. Single mom of 2, grandma with health problems, etc. I kept up with her and she graduated high school with honors and got a full scholarship to a state school. She's still doing well. I'm so proud of her I could bust. She was a good Christian girl. Baby born 9 months later. They must be so proud of her to be chosen by God himself to be the next Mary. Was volunteering in a kindergarten classroom. Was going through some old papers and found a letter from one of the mothers to the teachers explaining a bathroom incident. It went something like this. Kinshiro was in the bathroom stall peeing in the toilet when another student climbed under the stall. Kinshiro got very nervous at the sight of the boy and lost control of his pee. He peed on the student's face because he was very scared. Please do not punish Kinshiro. My sweet lord, I am Kinshiro. Well, no, I am Dembones. But this happened to me in grade 1. I was doing my best to pee in the urinal. I was very short, so I was happy that I got the stream going upward in a nice arc. There was some yelling and a kid grabbed me from behind and tried to spin me around. And another kid was sitting on the floor, half under the next urinal. Just as a teacher walked in to see what the noise was, I was standing over this poor kid and peeing all over the front of him. And he was peeing straight up, with it also landing all over him. I was a very shy kid and very well behaved, so I think the teacher understood that the rowdy kid had something to do with my odd position. But my mom later asked me why I peed on Billy. I told her that Casey turned me around. I didn't get in any trouble, but poor Billy, a pledge was smelling pee all over the guy. I bet he has a golden shower fetish now. Reach out on Facebook and then confirm for us. Got asked what Ajit wank was from a tiny nerdy 11-year-old boy whilst trying to teach him about safety on the internet. I told him it wasn't part of the syllabus and that it wasn't suitable to ask me. I don't know why, but I find that response both hilarious and professional. Home ec teacher asked a pregnant girl if she could get the placenta from her to eat, and that's about it, I think. My teachers weren't too wild by any means. I just don't wanna let this thread sink too far. LOL, not gonna believe this after this kinda blew up on me. I only just now remembered that the teacher that taught the problem kids, or slower kids, stole orography from one of them and apparently just had a bunch in his desk that he'd hear about every so often. That's more in line with the post. Sorry, tacked it on here though, don't wanna post again for this. And that's about it, I think. You make it sound like it's a mild thing. I think this is more abnormal than catching two teachers having sex. My thoughts exactly. This is easily the most disturbing thing in the thread. By far. What the yuck? Not sure if this counts since I was just a volunteer teacher for the kindergarten section for Sunday school. This 5-year-old dropped his pants, took off his shitty diaper and gave it to me. I didn't realize it's possible for a 5-year-old to still not be potty trained. Ducking like and subscribe.